Hey guys, welcome to episode number 81. Today is Friday, so it's Fan Friday. And I've had a number of questions regarding turtle keeping and recommendations on sizes of enclosures and what can be kept in each size tank and so on and so forth, and what the progression really looks like for keeping turtles. So I thought I'd draw this up and I just put it against my aquarium here for a nice backdrop for conversation. And I want to say that most people don't get beyond the first stage here, which is just your typical aquarium, and that's fine. Aquariums are fine for keeping anywhere from one to a half dozen turtles in, depending on the size of the turtle and how large they ultimately grow. But a good starter tank is a 40-gallon breeder. They're fairly large. They've got a lot of surface area to swim, and they're not too deep. So that's good for a lot of smaller turtles, at least to start out with. And then my recommendations would be to stop at 125 gallons, and that's exactly what this tank is here. It's 6 feet long, 125 gallons. Anything larger than that just becomes a little too expensive, a little too unwieldy, and it's just not worth it at that point. So most people get by with a 125 gallon tank. This aquarium here could hold 2 to 3 adult diamondback terrapins in it, which would be great, except for I have 6 in here. So ultimately, this is just a temporary home for these 6. They will be moving on to what I'm calling stage 2 here, which is a poly stock tank. There are a number of different shapes and sizes to these stock tanks. I produced a video a while back explaining a spreadsheet on stock tanks. So go check that out if you'd like to see different options, different size tanks, different price tanks. I laid it all out in the spreadsheet. It's pretty good. But stock tanks are ultimately the next step. They hold a lot more water, as you can see. You can get stock tanks anywhere from 300 gallons is where I would start. That's where it becomes economical to go with a stock tank option. And they go all the way up to about 1,000 gallons, and that can be up to a 10-foot tank. Those are fairly large. They're only a couple feet deep, but they are very, very large. They take up a lot of space, but it does give you a large water volume, which is what you're looking for when you have multiple turtles. People who breed turtles use poly stock tanks a lot. They're meant to be used for cattle, so horses and cows and stuff. So they're not very deep, but they all have, or most of them have, a drain hole at the bottom, which is pretty key for a tank this large. And a lot of people keep them indoors still. They do fit in basements. They fit through, a lot of them fit through doorways even. So it's something that you can still consider for indoor use. And the two of these options here will get 99.9% of people through. But some people want to take their hobby outdoors, and at that point, what you start to get into are ponds. And these can be built with bricks. They can also be built with 2x4s and lumber. It just kind of depends on where you are and how permanent you want your pond to be. But pond liners become very cost efficient when you get up in the range of about 1,000 to 5,000 gallons of water. And the good thing about these is, they're outside, so you no longer need to buy UVB bulbs, as long as there's a cool side and a basking side, and as long as they're protected from raccoons and birds and stuff like that, they should be fairly happy outside. It is important to note that when you get up to this size, filtration becomes more expensive. And if you keep it outside, there's a lot more maintenance to be done when it's outside winterizing. If you live someplace cold, and all the leaves and other things that can get inside of a tank. So that it is a good option because pond liners are fairly inexpensive. Building some sort of surround for a pond that large isn't that expensive for the number of gallons you're getting. And it is a good option if you're trying to build something a little bit more long term, something that you're building as part of your backyard. That's probably what you'd want to go with. And at that point, you could have as many turtles as you want, pretty much. It would just be a matter of trying to keep up with it, because let me tell you, ponds are a lot of work. Before you go and decide to build a pond, research it a little bit. They are a lot of work. So even though they are large, they are a lot of work. Less expensive per gallon, but a lot of work. And then the only other thing you can do, in this kind of depends on where you live, on how lucky you are. Some parts of the United States might be more suitable to just go with a true pond. If you've got enough land, or if something is naturally occurring, you might try to set up a true pond and stock it with native turtles, perhaps. At that point, they'd be less pets and more just wildlife. But this is something that people do on turtle farms. You see this a lot in Florida. Mostly they're basically concrete basins, kind of like swimming pools, but they just throw thousands and thousands of turtles in them, and then they provide beaches for them to lay eggs, and then they just dig up the eggs and sell those, and that's why turtles are so inexpensive when you go to pet stores. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you'd probably be relying on Mother Nature to supply all of your water and all of your filtration. And the only thing you could really do to try to contain your animals is some sort of fence. But again, if they're trying to leave, that means the space probably isn't suitable to them. Maybe they're overpopulated. Maybe there's not enough water. Maybe there's not enough cover. So this may be an option, but at this point it is part of nature, and not really an aquarium, not really a hobby, not really a breeding situation most of the time. So try to avoid this, and if you want to keep turtles as pets, but it is definitely an option. 5,000 gallons and up is typically where those start. I have seen ponds with pond liners go up to 10, even 15,000 gallons, but those are very, very large and very, very deep ponds. And at that point, they're just way overkill, in my opinion. It becomes less of a feature to a backyard, and more of an eyesore, especially if it's done not that well. So keep that in mind. Those are kind of my ranges and my recommendations for options for keeping turtles. So I'm kind of at stage 1 here, at the upper end of stage 1, and I'm looking to get into stage 2 here with a poly stock tank. I'll probably start with a 300 gallon. I foresee a 300 gallon meeting all of my needs, but it is nice to know that there are larger options if I do have the space. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All the turtles are watching me just like you're watching the video, so maybe that means they're hungry. I don't know. I'll find out. Alright guys, see you later.